Tom Cusimano, Artist Relations for Korg. So happy to have everyone viewing, and it is my great pleasure to moderate and welcome these incredible artists. Ladies and gentlemen, Herbie Hancock, Greg Phillinganes, James Poyser, Terrace Martin, and Robert Glasper. Here we go.
You can't see my keyboards, right? So I got to have something.
And we're on. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for being with us today. It's great to see you all, and I know you all know each other. We had a good time in the waiting room.
I never heard of it. I don't know who that is.
All right, so we've already dubbed this like an unruly class in a grade school, and so I get the pleasure of being the teacher.
The teacher, good luck with that.
Why did you invite them?
Right, Tom's the substitute
teacher. Why did you
teacher.
invite them? I mean,
What'd you say, Herbie?
why did you invite them? You get some important people on here.
I feel the same way. I feel the exact same way, man.
Well, if anything, this is a glimpse into how we're going to talk about music and keyboards. Oh, man. Well, as I mentioned, you guys all know each other. You guys have all played music with each other. I know you're all fans of each other's music and musicality. Before we started, we were just talking about Robert, and congratulations on your 2 Grammy nominations, which you have a few gentlemen here who played on those.
Exactly.
And
That's right. Herbie, James, and Terrace.
Yeah.
Played on
That
it.
means everybody but me.
I called Greg, but he didn't answer his phone.
No, that's
Greg didn't
not
answer
going
the
to fly.
phone.
That's not going to fly.
Yeah.
No.
What does that tell you?
There you go. Okay, thank you. Good night. I knew I shouldn't have been in this group. I knew I didn't deserve to be in this group. You don't have to tell me that. I understand.
Oh my goodness. Well, let me ask, is this the first, obviously we're in a virtual room here. It's not a real room. But have you
Thank
guys
God.
all been in, thank God. Have you guys all been in the same room together? Have you guys all been at an event or a show, or have you all had a conversation?
Mercifully, no.
Not all of us.
No, not
together
all of us.
Not all of us
no.
together.
Not at once. Well, I'm very, very honored to bring you all together for this once in a lifetime moment.
Yep.
And hopefully when the pandemic is sorted and we can all get together, we can do this around some keyboards, and it'll be a great time.
Because
And
definitely at NAMM show, everyone would definitely have COVID, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, we always joke about it. NAMM, the
It's so
NAMM
many people.
thrax.
Yeah. So many people.
There's so much touching. It's a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
And
so much
yet-
I got
remembering.
my shot.
And yet, after all
I got
these
my
years,
shot already.
You got
you
your
did,
shot?
really?
I got my shot.
I
Oh,
don't
you
think-
got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, after we finally inaugurated President Biden, we left our house, my wife and I, we went to Dodger Stadium. We both got our shots.
Nice.
How do you feel?
Great. Mom, it's a little bit sore. A little bit, but doesn't bother me. No, it's fine.
Yeah.
All right, well,
Yeah.
You can play through that.
God bless you. I'm praying for you.
Yeah, I got one more shot that I have to do anyway.
Right.
Yeah, you
So
got
I'm supposedly safe.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
we're glad
Don't
you
worry,
got
I'll
it,
be wearing
Herbie.
masks.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Now,
you guys, you'll get yours. You'll get yours. I'll put in a good word for you.
He just let us, look,
Yeah.
Herbie just let us know where the tier is. He let us know, I got mine.
You guys get yours eventually.
Mere mortals get theirs later. Right.
Yeah.
When you get in the line, just mention my name,
Right.
Okay, good.
and they'll lead you right to the back door.
Right to the front. Okay, got it. Good. Good to know.
well, class.
Good luck, Tom.
Oh my goodness. All right, so we are here. We're in a virtual Believe in NAMM or Believe in Music Week for NAMM, and it's wonderful to have you all here. And I just want to talk a little bit about some keyboards. I thought that might be kind of fun for everybody at home. You guys all play the same keyboard. You play the Korg Kronos. and you all approach it in a very different fashion. I've talked to you all separately. You all use it different ways for different events, shows. You know, James, a member of the Roots, uses it on the Tonight Show night after night. I know Terrace uses it in productions constantly. I know that Robert, he uses it. He comes at it more from a pianist perspective. I know Greg will do some sound searching and find the thing that makes the sense for the song in a session. And I know Herbie, you could take that thing apart and put it back together if you really needed to, and can layer and engineer through it. So with that, like, can we just can we talk a little bit like your personal experience with what I think most people consider the best keyboard in the world, 9 engines, the Korg Kronos. Herbie, can you take us to your perspective first?
Yeah, it's absolutely at the top of the game, you know, and it's my go-to instrument, you know, and it has been that since it came out and even before. So there's nothing really that compares to it. I mean, there are some other keyboards that are starting to come out, especially from Korg, that are bringing new entities into the scene, wave shapes and so forth. But anyway, if you're asking me about the way I use it, I have some special software that allows me to kind of use it as a MIDI keyboard, triggering some other sounds from some software through my computer, but in combination with the sounds that are in the Kronos. And it just gives me an amazing amount of flexibility. Having the set list.
Woo!
That was a genius idea.
Yep.
Right?
Set list.
Well, that was something I was going to bring up as well. Like, how do you guys all approach the set list function on your Kronos boards?
The set list function for me, it's great because during live shows, like I use the Kronos mainly for my piano playing. So when at a live show, instead of bringing the grand piano everywhere, trying to get that happen and everything, the Kronos feels the best. It's the closest thing to a grand piano that I've ever played in my life. That's not a grand piano. Put it like that. And my first time, Herbie, I don't know if you remember this, when I was over your house, me and Terrace was over your house, you're the one who told me about the Kronos. And I played yours.
Aha!
Yours was the first one I played. And you told me, you like, check the feeling out, check out the feeling. And it feels so good because a lot of times if the keyboard doesn't feel a certain way, it changes the way you play.
Yeah.
It changes the approach, and everything. So with the Kronos, it's dope because I can go from a piano sound, but in the middle of a line, I can switch to a flute and it doesn't stop.
Right.
And that's another thing about the Kronos that is different from the other keyboards. That when you go to another sound, you have to wait a second so it can input it, and then you go. But here, I can just boom, boom, in the middle of a line or the middle of a chord. Or if I got to, play another part real quick and then go back to piano, I could do that very, very fast with the set list setting. You know what I mean? So it saves my life in a live situation, because sometimes you have to have, depending on the gig, you got to have a whole extra keyboard or something just for these two things you got to play, and then you don't play them anymore. You know what I mean? But now it's like boom, boom. Okay, I'm good on that one. You know what I mean? So it definitely makes it smooth. Yeah,
the crossfade.
Now, Herbie,
that's genius. That's really, really great. That was something I was waiting for a long, long time.
It's very useful.
Herbie,
James, you were going to say something.
When you came on the show a few years ago, you were the one that told me about the Kronos.
Wow.
Because I was using another keyboard at the time, which I won't get into. And
I might have been using. I think I was using the same one, James. I might have been using the same one.
Put me out of a job, Herbie.
Yeah. Hey, Tom. I gotta get some stock or something. And
yeah, right.
right.
For sure.
No, Korg has been treating me very nicely, so I'm very happy.
Yeah.
But keep talking. Go ahead.
Terrace, tell us about your approach with the set list and the Kronos.
Man, I grew up like in the workstation era, so the Trinity to the Triton You know, I was like a workstation kid because it was like right before the laptop thing, and then we didn't have a lot of big studios. So I've always been a fan of keyboards that have everything in them, and I feel like the Kronos thus far has been the most like what I call flexible, even workstation, where from the studio to the stage. To me, you know, some of those companies. They're either they're and partially because I do mix records, I can hear the noise threshold on certain companies with the samples and certain keyboards, and that comes out when you're mixing records because you have to add so much low, mid, and mid to a frequency that the sound has no more life to it. But then with the Kronos, like me and Robert has done sessions that people swear, I don't tell them the truth, but I don't tell them a lie neither. But people swear that, oh my God, thanks for having Robert play that beautiful grand piano on my record. And I'm like, yeah, man, that shit was heavy getting up them stairs, but it worked out. No, but the set list is cool because, you know, you can have as many set lists as you want. You know what I'm saying? So like if when I'm playing with Herbie, you know, like on some nights we may stick to kind of the script, but I also have a lot of set lists that's like Herbie Experimental 1, Experimental 2, Experimental 3, to where I'll just have on my set list 4 signed sounds and make them as I go, save those and just keep on like have 3 set lists of just effects, just ambient sounds, 1 set list of just super tweak Rhodes sounds with neutron biphase pedals, next thing. So it's like Robert said, it's like all these keyboards in one. And I've seen Greg have a few Kronoses with all of them got set lists in them.
Right.
Greg was doing all that. Greg, I saw Greg read a chart one time for 1 bell. He was like this.
Whoa. The urban myth.
Greg, what show was that?
What are you talking about? I just love hearing the myths because y'all treat me like Paul Bunyan. And he flew up on the thing.
You are Paul Bunyan.
He was in midair. And
You are Paul Bunyan.
No. Listen, coming from the GOAT, who I had the pleasure of touring with 11 years ago.
I saw it.
You saw that, right?
I saw that.
And at that time, you know, it was the Oasis. And boy, I got a lot of mileage out of the Oasis. Yeah. And so did you, Herbie. And you had custom sounds that you shared with me that I hope to God I still have, because if I don't, I'm coming back and getting them again. But they were just revolutionary. And even with the Oasis, the feel was very similar to the real thing. But the Kronos has taken it up to another notch. And the advantage for me is that, you know, when I'm doing shows that I'm MDing and I have to, you know, switch sounds instantly, again, to Robert's point about it being seamless, you know, you can change within the song, or if you have to move rapidly to another sound in another song, you can do so seamlessly and without, you know, any hesitation. And the great thing about keyboards in particular, you know, these in this decade, but particularly with Korg, you know, I remember doing sessions so many times that people, other musicians would be like, "Man, where'd you get that cool sound? How did you program that sound?" I go, "Dude, it's stock. It's stock. It's in there.
Yeah.
All you have to do is look it up." Well, it's not in mine. I go, "Yes, it is. It's just a matter of how you use it." You know.
Yeah. There you go.
I go stock because long gone are the days of, you know, getting a new box and then spending another couple of months reprogramming what's in there. No. Right. We don't have time for that.
I'm lazy.
Exactly.
I already learned how to play. I don't want to be a sound genius too.
Exactly.
I see the beat in there.
Yeah. Unless, of course, you're Herbie because he does it all. As you
Exactly.
No, man. I wish I were a sound designer. I'm trying to learn now. You know, I'm finally trying to learn to be a sound designer, because I will go through a preset every day. I mean, that's the other thing. The presets, like you're saying, Greg, The
They're
presets are killing.
Presets-
Yeah.
And
That's
such a variety, even if it's a certain type of sound you want, there'll be maybe 50 or 60 variations of that type.
Yeah.
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 Yep.
You know,
Yep.
can't ask for a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
But
You
they
guys
always
on-
come up with more, you know?
It's what Korg does.
Yeah.
Keeps it coming back.
Oh.
Keeps it
Nice,
coming
Tom.
back.
Yeah.
Nice, Tom.
Uh,
Like the new ones that you have. I mean, the wave state, and op 6.
Yep.
And you got those. And then the Nautilus now has, I think it's got wavetables in it too, right?
Yeah,
The
Nautilus has a lot of the capability of the Kronos, and the reason behind the Nautilus thinking, from my understanding, is the Kronos is a very expensive keyboard. Like, that's not your average citizen buying a keyboard kind of thing. But there are so many people who want so much of those sounds that you're speaking about, and that's what the Nautilus is. It has so many of those sounds built into it, and what they did is they took away the ribbon and a few other things to drive the cost down, so it could be more affordable for the person who wants to explore and do sound design or do different levels of layering and that sort of thing, but can't afford the Kronos level board. And the nice thing though is, as much as you guys love the action, the key bed in the Kronos, it's the same thing in the Nautilus. So you have the 88 key bed is the same as the 88 Nautilus. And then the synth action in the Nautilus comes in the 61 key and the 73 key, which is different. The Kronos is 61 synth action, 73 weighted, and 88 weighted. So there's something for everybody now. Price point, and
Are
then
all the same sounds? Are they the same sounds in both keyboards, the Nautilus and the Kronos?
The Nautilus has a lot of, I can't say it's all exactly the same, but there's a lot of the same sounds in there, and actually some more experimental sounds in the Nautilus. And I think you're going to have, I think you personally, Terrace, will have some fun with that as well. Because there's stuff they did in there. They literally dropped nails onto a floor and recorded it, like real sound design kind of stuff that you can work into a song or a layer or production or whatever you want to. And that's just one of the things coming out this year. Herbie mentioned the Op 6, which is FM synthesis, but like obtainable and understandable. I know Herbie, I think you got one of the first ones because you're Herbie. And
cool.
Only explanation you need.
Yeah. I just didn't, I didn't want it from everybody else being like, "Where's mine?"
Right.
No.
It's all good. It's all good.
We're all aware we're not Herbie.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it is.
But I spread the joy. I tell all of you guys about it.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Herbie turned me on to. I had been buying Korgs earlier, but when I got to his crib and saw he had 3 or 4 of them around, and that's what we were writing the music with, and he's like, "Man, you better dive in." And I just started diving in, and I remember Herbie, we just went full throttle, full speed ahead. I got rid of all my other keyboards.
I mean, no pun intended, but Herbie, you've been instrumental. You introduced me to Terrace. Terrace introduced me to Robert. Adam Blackstone introduced me to James Poyser. And Greg, I met like my first NAMM with Korg, because I had just started with the artist relations team about 7 years ago. And you obviously, as well, have been playing Korg for such a long time. But yeah, it's, you guys, have this lovely, circular relationship where you all know each other and you share secrets, and you're all, like Herbie as well. James introduced me to James Francis. You guys have all introduced me to other great artists and great players, young and old, and people that I might not have otherwise been aware of, which is fantastic. And that's what I love about all of you guys is you share your knowledge, you share your level of interest in all these keyboards, and obviously you're so so great for being a part of this today. So let's go back a little bit. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, what's great about this industry is that each of us is a separate individual, right? We're all friends, but we aren't all the same people. And so even if we share whatever joys we get out of a certain sound or whatever, the instruments are designed actually from all the manufacturers that you can find things that are suitable for your own personal taste.
Right.
You know, so there's so, and that's the great thing about the Kronos. It's so flexible. You can design things that are really, and perhaps like an aspect of your own character. You know, that's what's great.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's the idea of sharing, like whatever sound, like you discover a great sound and you share it with somebody else. That's cool, but you'll never run out of ideas for how to make sounds that you can use for music. You know, that's what I like about it. You know,
Oh, that's great. And you were speaking
because when
to
Terrace plays, Terrace and I can play the same instrument. You know, same keyboard, right? Kronos, or any of the other ones. What he does is not going to sound in any way like what I do.
I wish it
He'll
did.
have
but-
his own.
No, I'm trying to get it
Been
there.
wishing that for 4 to 5 years.
Hey, look, I'm trying.
No, you don't want that.
Everybody finds their own sound, reaching for your sound, and then
Exactly.
selling.
nailed it.
True.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and stop here, and this is where I'm gonna land.
Yeah.
No. You guys got your own individual character. That's why I'm trying to steal stuff from you. You know, why do you think I invite you over to my house? Because you're a friend? Yeah, you're obnoxious. I come over here to steal stuff from you, man.
It's all good because while you're stealing from us, we're stealing from you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. So use me up.
And therein lies the history of recorded music.
Right.
Oh yeah.
That sounds familiar.
Right.
See?
So again, we're talking about the instruments and how you can approach them differently, even if it's the same instrument. You guys all started on different Korg instruments over the years, though, with Korg. You know, kind of going backwards, though. Obviously, Robert, we've been working together for 2-3 years now, and you came in with the Kronos specifically. And but I know historically, like Terrace, you had mentioned Trinity and Triton. James, I know Triton. Greg, M1, Triton. Herbie.
Oh yeah.
Well,
all the way back. Yeah.
My first keyboard was a Triton, and I used to make beats on the Triton. You know, a lot. You know, I tried to back in the day. You know, just try to make little hip hop beats on the Triton, and didn't really work out for me. But yeah, that was like my
You're
first.
good at other things.
My first trying to get there and do that, but
Now, the first chord,
I
my older brother
Triton too.
played keys, and he had a Poly 800. Remember that?
Woo!
Wow.
That's going back.
So that's what I came up playing on.
Wow.
Wow, yeah.
What about you, Greg? I know the
I don't
M1
even
was
remember
big on the.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I don't even remember my first Korg instrument because they I mean, all of them sound familiar because I've played at different times several different ones that have come out that are Korg products.
Mhm.
But go ahead. Sorry, I interrupted you, Tom.
No.
You're fine.
Well,
Greg,
I
I
was
was
gonna say-
going to mention the M1 because I remember I've seen the posters of you from the Michael Jackson Bad Tour, right?
Bad Tour, yeah.
And that was like those had just come out, and that helped run the show, right? Can you speak a little bit about the M1 and your history?
Yeah, that was the hot new box at the time, and so we were able to take full advantage of that on the Bad Tour back when I had hair. But that's a different story. But the thing is that yeah, I remember that poster. It's me and Rory Kaplan, the other keyboardist, and we we had these M1s, and yeah, we definitely got a lot of miles out of that. Now look, Korg wasn't the only thing we used, but it was prominent, you know, in that tour because we had something else helping to run the show, and we had 2 full-blown versions of that particular keyboard. But you know, the M1 I got a lot of miles of, you know, from the tour and post tour too. You know, in sessions and other shows that I did. I got a lot of miles out of that. I got a lot of miles out of the Trinity and Triton. Oh my goodness, for years.
Mhm.
What was the first breakthrough like thing on a Korg instrument that like the people at home could check out and be like, oh, there's the M1, Greg did this, or like Herbie, what was something on the Oasis that maybe was recorded? And we'll kind of go through. I want to go through all 5 of you, like something that is so unique to that time and that instrument that you may remember.
Oh man, that's hard. That's hard.
That's hard. That's hard.
But you know what?
I told you there was going to be a test.
No, it's hard only because the keyboard isn't in front of you. But if I had one in front of me, I could go to certain sounds and say, oh yeah, I remember this being a signature sound. It's just hard to recall right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But,
because of the 10,000 sessions you've done and world tours,
you know,
probably.
because of all the 10,000 sounds in each board too. You know,
Right.
Yeah.
First
but
of all,
there definitely are some signature sounds from, you know, M1, Trinity, Triton, but then there are a lot of sounds that are the same. They carried over from instrument to instrument. You know.
Yeah, I do remember that on the M1, that was one like really smooth, really beautiful. I think it was a Rhodes type sound. I don't remember the name of it, but you just put your fingers on like a nice chord. Oh, it's like angels came out of the keyboard, you know. Yeah, that I remember, and I used to always go to that one. You know,
You know what I remember?
you know, because that was the one that made the girls cry. That's what
Oh, there you go.
Hey,
My wife's
remember
not home
the?
right now, so that's why.
I was gonna say that on the Triton.
She
in the
won't
studio-
be coming. She won't be coming home after that statement. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tom.
James.
I was saying that.
Oh, James. Yeah.
There's a jazz guitar sound on the Triton or the Trinity. That's the sound in D'Angelo's Chicken Grease.
Mm.
Yeah,
Oh.
that jim.
Really?
Are you
Yeah.
serious?
Yeah, I wrote that on the
Wow.
on the. Is either the Triton or the Trinity? I'm not sure.
Really?
And that's what I played on the Voodoo tour.
Wow.
Dang, that's like 2000, right? 2001,
2000. So
2000.
might have been
That's a Triton. Trinity? That might have been a
was first.
Triton.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Probably.
in that time, I think it might have been Triton. Dang.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, wait. So, but it was the Trinity came out first, and then the Triton,
Trinity
right?
was
Yeah.
first. Yeah.
Right.
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 And
Oh,
then
Might
the
have been the Trinity.
Wow.
and then the Triton Extreme came out after the
Right.
Triton.
Right.
Yeah,
With
yeah,
the little tube in it, the little tube.
Right.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah, the
Oh, my
Trinity was
God.
95 to 98.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's Triton is
Yeah.
probably 2000, 2001.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Dang, James.
99.
In my mind, I'm like, that's Spanky or somebody. That's that's somebody. It sounds like Jeff Lee Johnson or something. Jeff Lee. I'm like, who's
Yeah.
that?
That was a jazz guitar sound in there.
Wow.
That's cool.
Wow.
Wow.
What about you, Terrace? Earlier on with the Triton and the Trinity, like, because, and correct me if I'm wrong, you started with Snoop, right?
Yeah, I started with Snoop when I was 17, and that's when that was the Trinity. That was the Trinity. So I mean, if I could just name, me, Battle Cat, we really used these keyboards to the fullest level. So at that point of the how we was using these keyboards, it was so flexible, kind of wasn't no sound to sound by the time we got through with it. Cause like in the Trinity, it had a song called the Doggy Dog Bass, Snoop Doggy Bass. It was like a strong mini move sound called the Snoop Doggy Bass. And it was like so close to a mini move, but the cutoff was that frequency was so high. But the Triton also had the Trinity had a little function in it, just like the mini move, where you could just get in there with all them things and make those things your thing. So most, like 90% of my career has been on Trinity, Triton, all the way to the Kronos. You know, it was a small point I was using different keyboards for maybe a sound, but after I kind of got it to where, you know, like the keyboard is like the saxophone. It's like I'm probably gonna sound the same on every saxophone I play. Minus little things here and there. So that keyboard, I try to morph it where it's just a part of me. So I don't know one particular sound, but that's the whole. I mean, every time me and Robert did a record for years, all the Kendrick records, everything is with one keyboard until I started making money and can buy more. But for years, it was one keyboard with a set of headphones and some NS10s, you know, and we was placking. I'm talking about placking. Plack, number one off of one keyboard. And the drums, like, you know, the drums is always ill, but the sample feature that nobody talks about, that's what we was into. We was really into the sample feature of the Triton, because nobody dove into that because it was kind of difficult, but like once you dove into it, it was cool. You know what I'm saying? So it was so many. But Robert, I'll talk for him because he won't know what sound exactly he used, because I'm usually the one going beep beep beep. Play that sound with him. He uses the beautiful piano on
number 10.
The beautiful piano, and we take off the compressor.
Yeah,
because all the piano sounds come with the compressor. So we take off the compressor, and that's the one sound I noticed Robert uses a lot is the beautiful piano. Me, I just go through them and, you know, see, because even playing with Herbie live or whatever, you kind of don't want to play the same sound again around him.
Yeah.
Right? He does these things. He does these nice things like, oh yeah, that's the same one from yesterday, or shit like that, and you're like.
Nice little backhanded compliment.
Yeah. You know, so you're always searching on the keyboard.
Yeah, I'm glad you did that again.
Hey, Herbie, tell him. Me and Herbie will spend, and this is no exaggeration, we will spend hours at his house just going through sounds.
Oh yeah.
And recording us just going through sounds for hours.
Sure. Yeah.
Yep.
Man.
And just tweaking some things. I just wanted to mention that a song I wrote years ago called "Come Running to Me."
Woo!
It would have been impossible for me to perform that on any other keyboard, except, well, maybe I started on the Oasis with that, and then on the Kronos, because of what the Kronos can do, which was in the actually in the combis, right? The combination sounds. I could have some of those sounds, like the brass sound, that, and the woodwinds, I'd have them all together. But if you hit the keyboard lightly, you know, then you'd only hear woodwinds. And if I hit it, you know, use the aftertouch and press down on it, then you'd hear the woodwinds and the brass.
Wow.
You know, I couldn't do that with any other keyboards before Korg came out with the. I think I may have started it with the Oasis, and then transferred the whole thing to the Kronos. You know, because I mean, there was like 32 slots for putting things in to make one sound, composed of up to 32 individual sounds that could make one sound that could do so many different things depending on how you hit the keys. You know, only the Kronos. Now the keyboards can do things like, well, I don't know which ones, but you know, I'm so busy playing Kronos all the time. I don't always keep up with everything that they can do.
Well,
But I
what
love
are
all the manufacturers. You know, we're all a family, right? We're all a Just
So
like
moving
I love
on.
all these guys. Look at them. Crazy as they are.
One of the things
guys.
one of the things that I believe that all of you take advantage of because you play all over the world. You play, sessions, tours, tapings, everything from the Thanksgiving Day parade to Emmy events to a show in any number of countries. You guys all take advantage of the fact that you can store everything in a USB stick, and how does that change? Like, just knowing that you can do that. Like, Greg, for instance, you work with so many different musicians in so many different capacities, whether it's a session or you're MDing an event or a TV show, live event musically. Like, how much does that just change your ability to walk in and just know that it's all going to be there, you know how to access it, and you're good to go? Like, the streamliningness of it all.
It changes the pocketbook. That's one thing. Saves money.
That's true. Yeah, you don't have to ship the keyboard around. I just get the phone call that says, "Hey, I need this keyboard in Paris tomorrow."
Right.
Right.
And then I call. But that USB stick, for those at home, maybe if anybody would like to chime in with how do you utilize, having your sounds? Because we talked earlier about the set list, but that the USB stick that you just pop it right in the back of the Kronos, you use,
yeah, I mean, I've been places where, when you have a Kronos, you sometimes when you have the keyboard, you know the keyboard, but you're not sure what's inside because depending on where you get the keyboard from, some sounds could be missing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, some sounds could be. You'd be like, I know this keyboard. Where's strong flute number 3? Wow, you're like, what? So I've been there. It's like none of my sounds that I normally use are there, or whoever was before you programmed it in some weird way, and you can't. You don't know how to. Yeah, and I'm so used to just walking out on stage. Sometimes, especially if you try to be nice and do let somebody open up and use your stuff, then it's like they do something to it. You're like, where's this setting? Where's that setting? What the hell? So that stick, boom, you're good. It's like it's assurance that okay, no matter what happens, this is gonna. Hey, I got a quick story, Herbie, real quick. Sorry.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with USB stick.
Good.
I don't know if you remember. I played at the Monterey Jazz Festival with my group, and I knew either you had just played earlier somewhere in the daytime or something, or I think maybe you were playing later that night or something, but you were at my show, and I knew you were there. And this is my first time for me knowing Herbie's watching my show. So I'm like, oh, snap. I'm a little nervous. I'm like, okay, just chill. Everything will be cool. I go out there. I had 3 keyboards. All of the sustain pedals were mixed up.
Oh no!
So I go out and I have a whole thing where I hold one sound with the pedal, and then I play some stuff on this one, and then I hold another sound. It was a whole thing I had going that I normally do. When I kind of want to play some shit. You know what I mean? And it just did not work. And I was like, none of my sustain pedals will work. And they rushed out, tried to switch them. 2 of them just weren't pedals, just not for the wrong keyboards. Everything just went crazy. And I felt so bad. And when I came back off stage, you was gone. I was like, oh, oh man, this is the worst thing ever could possibly happen right now. Dude, I'll never forget that. Ever forget that. I just had to say that. Sorry.
I tore my ticket up and just walked out.
He's like, yo, what is this?
I'm not playing.
I tell you, I had a disaster happen. I know that we're supposed to be talking about the USB stick.
Forget the USB stick.
I had a disaster happen to me in Europe. This is really weird. That I was we were to play in a certain, I forgot where it was, which country it was, but I was going to be given an award for like innovative technical. It was a technology award, innovator of the year or something, something like that. And I had prepared like a solo keyboard concert for them, and I had about 3 keyboards out there. Of course, the main one is a Kronos. And what I didn't know was that something fried, not in the instrument, but in the outboard equipment that changed everything. I don't remember the details of the specific problem, but it meant that a lot of the, like A440 was not A. It was F or some other. And it was different on different keys. Different on different keys. I had to play Chameleon a half step up, and I've never played it a half step up. I had to just think quickly. Anyway, it was a disaster, right? And I was getting an award for innovation. And
it was more of a test of innovation.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Oh man.
And my tech guys, they were working all day on trying to fix some stuff. I didn't know that I knew there was a problem, but I didn't know it was as bad as it was.
Wow.
And eventually they sent out and were able to replace the device that was broken. And I think I was able to end the okay, but I was so embarrassed at what had happened that I apologized to the audience, and I tried not. You don't want to get out there and say, "Well, it's not my fault. It's because of this and that." It just sounds like you're making excuses.
Right.
So I just owned up to it, because for me it was like, okay, this has never happened to me.
Right.
There's a reason it happened, and I was supposed to experience this. Now, what am I going to do about it? I had to think of it in that way. So I decided I needed to experience the embarrassment.
Right.
Right.
Couldn't
have been Korg keyboards.
Obviously. Goes without saying. It
actually wasn't the keyboards at all. It was the outboard equipment. But that was really Has anything like that ever happened to any of you?
The same thing. No. Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah, same thing.
No,
it's not fun.
Here's a good one. This goes way back years ago to the maybe late 70s. I'm sure late 70s. And I had just joined Stevie's band in 75, but I ended up being asked by Ronnie Laws to play a set with him at the Forum. Ronnie Laws was opening up for Gino Vanelli at the Forum.
Wow.
Right? So he asked me to be in the band. I'm like, great, fantastic. That's the good news. The bad news was that this was at an era where you didn't have the elaborate stands for keys that you have these days. You didn't have, you had stuff that literally was put together by gaffer's tape.
Oh boy.
And you didn't have the streamlined synths that you have these days. You had to use the actual keyboards, like a real Rhodes, a real clavinet, a real whatever, a real what was that?
Mini Moog.
No, the Mini Moog and the ARP.
Odyssey?
R2600.
No, the string ensemble. The string ensemble. Right? Remember that?
Yeah.
So here I got a Rhodes, I think a clavinet, definitely a string ensemble, and maybe one other thing. And they were all piled on top of each other by gaffer's tape.
Wow.
No elaborate stand, right? So I'm playing, we're grooving, I'm playing, and all of a sudden, They all toppled over.
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I'm like, so yeah, that's my story.
Oh my
Was it in
god.
slow motion? Was it in slow motion? You had to
Felt like
follow
it.
it over?
It felt like,
Right.
Wow.
Oh,
yeah,
my
that's exactly what
goodness.
it felt like. Yeah,
The nightmare.
it was crazy. At the front.
Oh my
Man.
gosh.
Oh,
Man. Well,
Wow.
gentlemen,
Yeah,
I know
sure.
we only have a couple minutes left here. This has been an incredible experience just for me alone, just to be a fly on the wall of all of this. And I know everyone at home, we've getting some great comments and a million questions I'd love to touch on and everything. But just thank you guys all so much for being a part of Korg and a part of the Korg family. Herbie, again, you've introduced so many artists that are sitting right in front of us right now to Korg. And, you know, I know all of these guys, like myself, look up to you. And I know I've heard James himself say, you know, about Greg, there goes my hero. Like, it's just, I know there's such a mutual admiration within this room, or, you know, in this virtual room here, that you guys are great, and thank you for being here, and thank you for being part of this. If anybody wants to share another story or anecdote, James, I know you have a car ride back to Philadelphia that you got to catch. So
I'm good. I'm enjoying myself here.
all right, well, keep chatting then. We're good for a little longer.
Here's the thing. Two things. First of all, if we don't have time for questions, you know what this means, right, Tom? It means part two.
I'm into it.
That's
oh
what
yeah,
that
right,
means.
right,
That's what that
exactly.
means, fellas. Part two.
Exactly.
And also, listen, I know I have some nerve wanting to do this in front of all you guys, but somebody has a son who has a birthday.
Oh, Riley. Yeah, my son's birthday today.
Oh,
Riley. Yeah, he's
birthday
12.
rally.
He's 12. Yep.
And he's 12, right? So guess
Yep.
what? I'm going to do for you, Robert, what I've done for Herbie and James and everybody else.
Yep.
I'm going to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay,
Awesome.
you ready?
Awesome.
You ready? Because really, this is the best thing I know how to do. I can't do anything else than this. So
Hold on, Greg. Hold on. I gotta
You want to get it?
I'm gonna unplug my headphones so I can get the audio.
Okay.
Hello?
Okay. Okay. Let me see.
We can hear you.
Okay. All right.
I done messed up.
Okay.
Damn it.
And I haven't played it in a long time, but here we go.
Wait 1 sec, Greg.
Hey. Happy birthday, Riley!
Happy birthday, Riley!
Happy birthday,
Riley!
Thanks, Uncle Greg.
Happy
Appreciate
birthday,
it.
Riley.
Uncle Greg. I gotta tell you, so many artists that I work with always say Uncle Greg. Greg, you're such a kind and giving artist. To Lynette Williams, so many artists that we work with. Hammond Gal, you know, she just adores you and was so excited to meet you when we were all at a Hotel Cafe show years ago. Just a big fan of yours as well, and all of you guys are so gracious to your fans and kind of passing along the knowledge that you have. I mean, it's evident here. Like, how did you guys meet each other? Like, Greg and Herbie, how did you connect? Terrace?
Oh my God! I met Herbie through Stevie about 1 million years ago, and
actually, I met Greg before that. He had just graduated from high school, and I was in Detroit.
Oh, that's right. Oh my God, in Detroit. That's right.
And we went to, I think we went to a restaurant or we went somewhere.
I came to your concert at the Masonic Auditorium, and it was
Right.
you and Mike Clark on drums. And after the show, I ended up at one of your Buddhist meetings.
Oh, right.
Remember that?
Right. But somebody had told me about you and that I should try to find you in Detroit. That I remember. Because it's an amazing young pianist.
Wow.
You know, and you're all of that.
Wow.
Still,
Oh man.
even though you're just older, that's all. But me, I'm the same. I'm the same age.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, and James, I mean, I remember going to Philadelphia
Yeah.
to see you guys. I was working on a project. I can't remember what it was, and you, I mean, all of you helped me out, but you were the main instigator to
Yeah.
make sure that it happened, and we've known each other ever since.
Now, do you remember in my
Yeah.
studio when you were playing my Fender Rhodes and one of the keys was out of tune, and you took the top off and asked for a Phillips head screwdriver, and I handed you a Sharpie instead, and I still have it. So if you come to my house and see, if you open up the top of my Fender Rhodes,
Oh, boom. Killer.
Oh wow,
Killer. Oh yeah.
beautiful.
Oh,
Did
I
he
thought
tune it
because-
too?
you tuned it, yeah.
I thought you didn't know what a Phillips head screwdriver was. Oh yeah.
How'd you link
Yeah,
up
so-
with Terrace and Robert, Herbie?
Well, let's see. Who did I meet first? I guess let's see. Oh yeah, Robert I met first
Mhm.
because we were doing a thing for Blue Note in the studio,
Mhm.
and Wayne Shorter was on it.
Yeah.
Bunch of amazing. Lionel Wicke, I think he was there.
Kendrick Scott. Yep.
Amazing
Derek Hodge.
musician.
Yep.
Right, Derek. Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
That's right.
Yep.
And we were just all having a great time. And I had mentioned that I had wanted to meet Terrace, and you. The funny thing is that you had already called him from
Oh,
the
yeah.
studio
Oh yeah.
to say that I was
Oh, yeah, no.
there and
I
that everybody was there.
I did.
Next thing I knew, 5 minutes later, he walks through the door.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I called Terrace like, yo, Herbie's here. Well, stop what you're doing. Come now. Terrace like,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, you know, we've never been no stranger to get to the opportunity.
Oh no. Matter of fact, the same exact studio, I was doing a recording there 2 years before that. The same exact studio, Terrace knew I wanted to record with Kendrick Lamar. After Good Kid, Mad City, I was like, the next project, I got to record. Terrace called me while I was doing my record. I had the record covered. I was in that same studio at Capitol Records. Terrace called me like, yo, I'm with Kendrick right now at the studio. Come now. And I was like, all right, I'm finishing my recording. As soon as I finish there, I'm coming now. And I went straight to the studio, just like it came to my studio, and I played on like 9 Kendrick songs that night for the Pimp a Butterfly. Literally, like that night. So we definitely don't waste time.
Oh no.
Oh yeah. But it was that record. It was that record that caused me to want to meet Terrace.
Yep, Pimp a
Right.
Butterfly is the reason. Exactly. 'Cause I remember I opened up for you and Chick in China somewhere, and that's where we talked about it. And you were like, "Yo, that record, The Pimp a Butterfly, is like an opera. I love it." And I was like, "Well, the guy behind that joint is my boy Terrace." You were like, "I gotta meet
That's
him."
right. You told me about it.
I
Right.
was like, I gotta meet him. I gotta meet him. I was like, "Cool." So I told Terrace, "Herbie wants to meet you. I'm gonna hook it up." And then
Hey, wait. Let me tell you a backstory, Rob, that you never knew. I wasn't out there. I was in LA. Kenyon Harold was there when you was talking to Herbie.
oh, okay,
Because
gotcha.
Kenyon, right after you talked, Kenyon ran and called me, said, Robert just got done talking to Herbie about you. Just let Robert tell you, though. I'm just telling you. And I was like, man. And then Robert didn't call for 2 days, though. Like,
You sitting there wondering, like, this is real.
hello?
right.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yep. Yes, indeed. And then
I mean,
Bilal
there's so many links.
Bilal introduced
Yeah.
to James
Yep.
Poyser. Because Bilal, me and Bilal went to college together, and Bilal was working on his first album, and he was trying to explain to me a certain feel. And I'm from Houston. We didn't know that feel. I didn't know what that feel was. And he kept trying to explain it to me, and I didn't know what he's talking about. And then we got a bus from New York to Philly. We started going every Monday or Tuesday to the Black Lily. And we were in college, and we would see you and see Amir playing drums. And Bilal was like, "This is what I'm talking about." And I was like, "Oh, you know." And then from there, I kept going to see you guys play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I kept going to see you guys play. So that's how I know James. You know. And then I realized, well, James is like a bar. It's like everybody here is like is responsible for a sound, for an era or errors. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? So I realized James stopped playing.
ERROR.
Yo, that was, and then I started playing with you guys with the Roots. Y'all would call me sometime to play with you, so I got a chance to play alongside James and understand that concept of that whole Philly sound. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's how I met. And me and Terrace met in high school at a jazz camp. At jazz camp.
Like one time at jazz camp.
Me, Terrace, and Keon met at jazz camp in Denver, Colorado.
15 years old. 15.
No, not Denver. Vail, Colorado.
Vail, Colorado.
Yep, Vail, Colorado jazz camp. And 15 years old. That's where we met. Yes, indeed. And I met Greg when I was.
No, I think you were on Hollywood Boulevard and you had a black beanie on and you had a tin pan in one hand and you said, "Hey, I can rap. Are you great names? I can rap. I'm a good rapper." And I said, "No, I don't need any rappers." And I kept walking. I don't know what happened.
My first time meeting you was when I unfolded the Michael Jackson Off the Wall album when I was in 3rd grade, and I was reading the credits. The show.
That's great. The connections that we all have.
Oh yeah.
You know. Oh, yeah. I mean, so much of what you, Robert, that you got from the Roots are here in a lot of the stuff that you do.
Absolutely.
And I didn't know that you got that from I was saying, oh, this thing that they do of being able to play the same thing over and over again, but you never get tired of it. And the only two I could think of is the Roots and you, Robert Glasper.
I got so much. Yeah, I mean,
now you told me where you got it from. Yeah.
For all the keyboard players, y'all two specifically, James and Herbie, are a huge part of my sound. Huge part of my sound. A lot of times people hear stuff I do and they don't realize it's James because James is quiet and don't like to say shit. But I say your name all the time, bro. So you're a huge influence all day. You know what I mean? Hey, Greg, I got a question for Greg. I got a question for you, Greg.
Yo.
Do you know approximately how many albums you played on?
He can't.
How many albums?
Approximately.
No. And you know what? But I do. There's a resource that I've used to make a compilation, but I don't know. I mean, I know it's a large number, but it's probably not as large as you might think. It's a lot. It's a large number, yeah.
But it's so varied, so many different.
And it's a lot of important records.
Yeah,
important songs, important records, bro. Like
some good important records, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. We've all done sessions.
Right.
Well, I mean, everything, but it started with Songs in the Key of Life, as you know.
You can stop right there.
And then and then Off the Wall, Bad, Thriller, Dangerous, Destiny with the Jacksons. It was a Barbara Streisand record. Eric Clapton, Journeyman. Herbie Hancock, Possibilities.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah.
Quincy Jones.
Quincy Jones.
Barbara Streisand.
The Dude, Juke Joint. It's been one.
Wow. Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah.
Like I don't know too many. I don't know any when it gets to doing records, keyboard wise. I don't know any keyboard players that aren't influenced by Herbie, Greg, James, now Robert. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't like. Well, I'll say for my generation, Herbie, Greg, James. I don't know any of us that doesn't have that in that pedigree. You know what I'm saying? Like the ability to play a keyboard or a piano or Rose or whatever, a keyboard, and like a person may not even know the human being who played it, but that sound. They don't even know what the sound is called. They just know, oh, that's the da 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 da. Like that's what these guys are doing. But I'm saying, like, to me, that's the important shit. When somebody says, I don't know, but it's that, and they singing along to it, like that mother, that father, that single mother, that father, that singing along to that song. That fuck the instruments, just the fact that you had enough courage to take something like that and to be able to communicate with somebody else that's going through a hard time. That's not an easy thing to do, especially with a chord instrument. Like these guys have done this without even playing a solo on the right hand, just with chords and making everybody move. Chameleon. Everybody's grooving. All the records, all this just, I mean, the solo is extra seasoning. That's seasoning salt. That's not even no, that's not even seasoning. That's paprika. That's not even seasoning salt. You know what I'm saying? But the song, I did a gig 2013 under Greg's leadership, man. We did the Soul Train Music Awards. And we had to do, man, remember that year, Greg? It was Jodeci. It was
the Soul Train War show, yeah, right?
It was all this different stuff.
We did a tribute to Dionne Warwick too.
And Greg whooped my ass, y'all. He took me through the original arrangement of Alfie. I had never heard this before. Now, the same gig. We just got done playing with Keith Sweat and Jodeci, and now we're doing with Ron Isley the thing with Alfie, and it was it was all different music, but every song we did that night touched somebody's heart, and it was cool even being with Greg, because if Greg hadn't played on the record, he was somehow close to the record. So to see somebody that knew the real voicings, because Rob, you always talk about that. You can play the chords all day long. If you ain't got the sauce and the real voicing, it's irrelevant.
Absolutely.
Relevant.
Absolutely.
And those voicings, what these brothers play, anytime you can make somebody dance, that's interesting to me. Dance? It's easy to sit down and get deep and think, but to get up and move?
Yeah. Sometimes it's a matter of taking one note out.
One note out.
Right? Right?
One note changes everything, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, we wouldn't even know half the cats when I was in high school wouldn't even know what a grace note was on the chord if it wasn't for James Poyser. I mean, everybody was playing the bling bling bling. I'm talking about.
Yep.
And I was like, y'all, you know that's only 1% of him. It's like he has a heart, and they like, yeah, but this is the one that we could get.
Right. That's right.
Wow.
Well, gentlemen, I hate to do it, but unfortunately we are going to run out of time here momentarily. And I'm sorry I disappeared for a minute. I had some technical issues on my end.
Okay.
But thank you.
We're talking about you. Yeah.
I figured as much. Well, I'll go back and watch the re-record. And actually, just so you all know, just so everyone at home knows, and so you guys all know, this will be on the NAMM Believe in Music website up until, I believe, February 28th. And then we will also be hosting this on the Korg YouTube channel, and people can see it there as well. So, Robert, whenever you want to show it to Riley, I can send you that YouTube link
awesome.
so he can see that performance. That Greg, that was wonderful, and what a gift. I've seen you play Happy Birthday a few times.
Thank you,
it
bro.
never gets old.
Hey, Greg.
Thank you.
Hey, Greg.
Yo.
Next Saturday, it's my birthday.
Oh, it is your birthday next Saturday.
Next Saturday? Okay.
Next Saturday.
You get a call.
Just like the last few years.
Okay, there you go. You'll get a call.
Greg, my birthday was in December, and I got a text message.
Oh, yeah. I'll do that.
It's cool, though. It's cool.
Yeah, I'll make it up to you next year.
Well, gentlemen, Herbie, Greg, James, Robert, Terrace, on behalf of Korg, on behalf of Believe in Music Week with NAMM, thank you so much for being a part of this. And everybody, check it out. Tell your friends about this. It'll be up there for all to see. And thanks, everybody, and have a great night.
Great.
For sure.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
All right. See you guys.